I'm loving how everything's interconnecting, if you're noticing. Things that were said by Kate and by Ronaldo are being voiced by everyone. And now we're going to have someone who actually has a shop. I think it's important that we introduce someone who's living this dream, which is, or nightmare, depending on how you look at it. Amy Cooper owns a Plum Goods store, and she actually has a store that is for gifts and home and clothing and jewelry and a gallery and everything that was just discussed about how Santa Barbara is different and the kind of things that we as individuals who live here want. And I think that you found the pulse, so I would like to invite you up to speak to all of us.
Thanks for having me. I made some notes because there's so much I could talk about. I feel like I could be up here all night. We could have a sleepover. But I feel like the number one reason I was asked to speak is because people ask me all the time, why is Plum Goods still there and other people aren't there? Or what do you think the secret is? Or what's the answer? I don't have the answer. I can tell you that I opened the store 8 years ago, and my vision for it was to represent Santa Barbara, create an environment you wanted to be in. So that already was, I already had my eye on an experiential place. So it started from there, and of course I wanted sustainable goods, handcrafted, and even back then, people didn't know what I was talking about. And now with my second clothing store with ethical clothing, they haven't heard about that either. So I've tried to be on the cutting edge of having consciously made goods. I feel like that's so in line with who Santa Barbara is. We're the home of Earth Day. And I wanted it to be a place where locals loved it and visitors also had a true Santa Barbara experience. So I think that those things dovetailed with what ended up happening in retail. So I was lucky to be on that it's now more of a trend. When I go to gift shows now, there's a whole floor of handcrafted fair trade, whereas before I would have to just hunt for the tiniest little bit. So it's nice to see that consciousness raising. But I think that I hear a lot, retail's dying, it's all about online. That's not true. People have a real hunger to go and when they're in a town and have an experience. You can find things online you're looking for. You can't find what you're not looking for. And I think that's what they find at Plum Goods. They come in, there's a lot of imagination and art and music, and it makes people happy and they have a happy experience here. So I feel like we're doing that well, but along with everyone, as the street has declined and the vacancies and the homeless issue and all those things that I've seen happen over the past 8 years, it's obviously been a struggle. And these recent natural disasters hit us really, really hard, along with everyone else in our community. So I'm grateful to see Say Cheese here tonight, because I feel like they did a big service to our town by writing that letter about what it's like for a local business to try to stay open. And that was a big eye-opener for a lot of locals and a lot of people. So. Yeah, thank you, Say Cheese. So I also, dovetailing with what a lot of people have already said, I feel like it's such a huge opportunity right now with the vacancy rate. We actually have a chance to create a vision for our town and implement it. And early on, I'm glad you brought up the lotion guys. I don't know what to call them, the people who stand and hawk. It's just horrifying. And they were right next to my business for a while, and it really, really affected my business. And I couldn't find anyone to help me. There was no one in city government that could help me. The downtown organization is not tasked with that. The sign committee who protect the sidewalk, I thought, because they protect no signs being on the sidewalk, we don't have anything to do with that. There was no one watching out for what the experience is when you're walking down State Street. So we have a sign committee, and they're quite on top of things, watching out for if you have anything wrong with your sign, but couldn't that be expanded to watch out for the beautification of a building or the vibe of walking downtown? So I did actually end up meeting with the city attorney. I was really pursuing this quite, because they were breaking a lot of laws being there, but I didn't end up getting any kind of help with that. But I did go to my landlord and educate him about their business practices, and he didn't renew their lease. So that was really lucky for me, right? So that was great, but those kind of little things, what I am hearing tonight and what I most wanted to say, but it's already been said, is we need a point person, we need a visionary person that's in charge of downtown. I printed this out, I have to put my glasses on to read it. Okay, the ABR, you all know if you've tried to do a project at your house. Okay, The ABR, the mission of the ABR protects and preserves the natural charm and beauty of Santa Barbara, including the historical style, qualities, characteristics of the buildings, structures, and features. What if we had that same kind of position, person, or infrastructure? I don't know if it's an economic development department or if it's just a position in city government or in the downtown who is literally watching over the State Street experience, and who can also spearhead, if we can come up with a vision for our town, can be, again, that point person that you could call about these issues. So I feel like it's a perfect opportunity right now, as we've talked about, with a new city leadership, with the new sales tax going into effect April 1st, that's going to generate a lot of extra money, and with this focus on retail that I think is really, really important, because it's not, people say, well, you care about it because you own a store, and that's not true. I care about it because I love Santa Barbara. I really opened that store to be of service to Santa Barbara. I've been here 25 years. I don't want to see this jewel of State Street lose its luster. So I'm hopeful tonight, hearing all these ideas, that we can all come together as a community and create a new vision and help the local businesses and get more of this kind of retail and restaurant that we want to see. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Amy.